and she had to sell whatever she could sell to help pay for my brother's tuition. I was like, you know what, this shit is easy. I was like, you know what, this shit is easy. I went to open call and I fucking like, you know, I killed it. I saw Khan and Khan was like, yo, I'm moving to New York. And I was like, I bet if you're gonna go to New York, then fuck it. I'm not even gonna stay. I'm gonna go back to New York.
What's up, man? Thank you for coming down, man. Good to see you again and again, bro.
Brooklyn guys in the building.
We got Daboyway, the iconic character of THAITANIUM. No, Thailand. No, the whole Asia, bro. Thank you, yo.
Yes, man. Thank you for having me, man. Once again.
Thank you, man. So today, man, like we've known each other for a long time, but we never had really sat down and just broke it down everything, you know?
Yeah.
So today, I wanted to take this opportunity to talk about, you know, like now, then, and the future.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? I used to, you know, run the label called Future Shock, so I want to rebrand the whole shit and just, you know, share the love with, you know, what's going on with the Asia right now.
Yeah, what's up?
So, from that, I know you was raised in New York, so I want to, you know, chop it up, you know, like how it all started, like what was your, you know, like being in America, you know, like I want to hear the story.
So I was born in Paterson.
Paterson, word.
New Jersey.
Jersey, yeah.
But my family doctor was in Paterson, but originally from Brooklyn.
Okay.
So probably like the first 5 years was in Brooklyn.
Okay.
And then the family moved to Jersey.
Word. How old were you when you were in Brooklyn?
From like 1 to 5.
Oh, okay. So by your DNA.
Yeah. So like from like 1 to 5.
Okay.
Was Brooklyn. What they call Park Slope.
Park Slope. I used to live there, 7th Avenue.
Yeah, 5th Avenue on 34th Street.
Ooh.
Between 5th and 6th.
There used to be a lot of Boricuas and Latino, black, all over in there.
So yeah, it was predominantly black. So everybody thought that. Being,
I know
Asians.
exactly how it is, man. Like the only Asian they have seen is the Chinese restaurant, the first food. You want wonton, hasasu. They used to always make fun of us like that, right?
Duck sauce.
Yeah.
And then so maybe around like 5, 6, we moved to like Jersey City. And then after
Jersey. That's what's up, the family, you know, immigrating, moving the step up in the foreign country. Okay.
So yeah, my mom went to New York when she was like maybe like 22.
Okay.
But my dad went to America maybe when he was like around 14.
Okay.
And the first state that he was in was in Kansas.
Okay.
So just imagine during that time in Kansas, and then he made his way up to New York and was making bagels when
he must have gone to extreme Kansas, all the redneck town, as an Asian, then making his way out to New York.
Yeah, and that's where he met my mom. So my mom was just had just gotten there, and she was a little down on her luck. I think like her bags were stolen, and then the family or the people that were taking her in, you know, promised her one thing, and then didn't really like live up to you know what they were saying. And then she met my father.
So they just fall in, at the right spot in New York.
In New York.
Both Thai.
Yeah, both Thai.
Okay, that's what's up. Okay.
So yeah, they're both Thai, originally from Thailand. And then from about 10 to 14, I lived in the Poconos, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So it was a lot of like, I don't know if you were familiar at that time, it was like, why rent? So the inner city kids all moved to the Poconos where mortgage was only like $1,000 and you can own a house. So then it was a bunch of inner city kids in the fucking mountains.
It must be wild out there.
It was like, cause like there was like communities, but it was like like I said, a lot of inner city kids were up in the mountains, and then we would have to ride the bus into town to go to the school.
That's a great experience as a kid to see the diverse of the whole world.
So it's a real like melting pot, and then to be like, I didn't really associate myself with Thai people. I mean, I knew I was Thai. My parents spoke Thai to me. But I was surrounded by nothing, no Thai.
Yeah, as a culturally grown as an American.
Until maybe like the age of like 14, 15. Because then like my mom and dad, they made the commute into New York every day from Pennsylvania. Wow. So we were in there during the weekends and stuff, and like we would go to Thai school and Wat Thai and whatnot. And then around 15, my parents decided to come back to Thailand to try to start like a business. My pops was he worked in like a paint factory, but he knew all the like equations of how to make the Pantones. So he would write all like the Pantone combinations of each color like on paper, and he had like this whole list of all the combinations of the colors.
Wow.
So he was thinking like, okay, maybe if I go back to Thailand, I could start like a paint, like a company. And so paint, that was kind of like his thing. And that was like 95, 96, and I was still like in my first year of high school. And I didn't want to move back to Thailand.
Obviously.
So I had a family friend who was Big Callow.
Carlo.
Yeah, Big Callow. He had a family friend, and he was living in Jacksonville, Florida at the time. So I had met Callow in Pennsylvania, and he had moved away probably like a year before. Then he moved. He's younger than me. He moved to Jacksonville, so then I moved to Jacksonville to start like, I think it was the beginning of 10th grade. And my age difference was like, he was probably like 3 years younger, so he was still a kid, and I was, headed into like 15, 16, I wanted to.
So you're the big boy,
so I wanted to be out, and like my parents wasn't around, and like.
Forget about it, right?
So I was like, I ran away. I didn't run away, but I left the crib that I was staying at to go be with my girl at the time. Because the family, I think, wanted to go like on a away for the weekend, and I didn't want to go. So I like stayed at my girlfriend's house, and I didn't come home for like a week. And they got really mad. They called the police on me.
Oh my God.
And then so they reported me like as running away.
Well, you cannot blame a teenager for that.
And then they're worried. I probably worried the shit out of them because they're not my parents, and they were responsible. My parents were in Thailand. So then I probably stayed half a year in 10th grade in Jacksonville.
Well, 10th grade, you're not even in college, you're in high school.
High school. And so they had the option to send me back to New York to live with my aunt, and she was in Yonkers, and my mom was like, nah. You could.
Your mom,
like, come stay with me, come stay with us in Thailand for the remainder of the year. And then when the end of the school year, because my dad was trying to start the business, and my mom was teaching English at a boarding school in Sriracha.
I'm about to say, because I went to boarding school in Connecticut, so I want to say you're, go ahead.
So mom was teaching English at a boarding school in Sriracha.
Sriracha.
Yeah, and my dad was trying to get the company off the ground. But then the economic
crisis,
in
the
96.
So
okay. So it went from 25 baht to 60 baht within that however many month time frame, and then my parents went bankrupt.
Boom.
Yeah, and then I was stuck in Thailand. And my brother, he's older than me, was actually starting his first year of college when that economic crisis happened. So my mom was probably making like 40,000 baht a month off of a teacher's salary. And she had to sell whatever she could sell to help pay for my brother's tuition. And so it kind of left me. So I only finished the 9th grade. So I was here in Thailand, stuck in Thailand. My dad's company didn't really do too well because of the inflation of everything. So I was kind of here, and then I stayed probably like 2-3 weeks with my parents in Sriracha.
Okay.
And then I made my way into Bangkok.
Okay.
And my aunt and my cousins, I was staying with my aunt and cousin in Din Dang. And my cousin was in college.
Okay.
And so I would go to his college with him. And then, hit on the older girls, play basketball. I got introduced to the bamboo bong.
Okay.
Back of
the old school traditional style.
So they kind of took me in, my cousin's friends, and then that's how I probably got onto the scene in Bangkok. And then at that time, nobody was listening to hip hop, and I was kind of like an alien because I was decked out in fatigues and Timbs and Echo and people were just looking at me like I was weird and shit. But and then I got into the entertainment business by I was having dinner with my cousin one day close to Soari, Sapan Kwai area. And this exec from GMM, from Grammy, approached me, and I guess he invited me to have a screen test, to come in for a casting. I couldn't speak Thai, didn't know how to sing. I just knew I liked hip hop. I wasn't a rapper then, but I knew I liked hip hop.
And that swag.
I think he was like, I think I lied to him. I rapped a Warren G song, Regulators or
But
some
he
shit
obviously saw something in you, you'll put this kid in front of the camera.
So, and then they signed me to a 3-year development deal. To come in and take vocal lessons and dance classes and shit like that. They didn't really know what to do.
They had their plan. Well, he's an international kid, Thai kid, got the good looking, and lingo packed down. We can obviously do something with him, but they didn't have no plan.
Yeah, so that was kind of the beginning of my how I got to Thailand.
Okay, so how you got to Thailand? Okay, obviously they didn't have a plan, but God had a plan for you. So how did you form that into Titanium, meeting with all this
Well, I mean, I knew I was a big fan of hip hop. So growing up, it was hard to not be aware of it, and it was the golden era. So it was from LL Cool J to
I wanted to get deep into that.
To Wu-Tang, to Mobb Deep, to Nas, to the Lost Boys, Jay-Z.
East Coast.
Yeah, it was definitely East Coast for me, and then just I was just a fan. I was a collector. Anything that had the cassette single, the fucking CD, the magazine, the poster, I would collect all of it.
Magazine,
and then I lost a lot of my childhood from moving around so much.
I feel you.
But that was just something that I was really that I was drawn to. And then from that, it was the fashion, being fly, and once started to dress, the attention that the girls would give you. So that was my thing. I lived for that.
Yeah, I can totally see you merging into the the American, the Black Hispanic community. They don't even realize you're an Asian. That's you gotta be chameleon to that.
So
shit,
it was when I was a little kid, I still looked Asian. I had the fucking dorky Asian haircut. And I would get made fun of, and it would be yo, China boy, duck sauce, wonton, or whatever. But I was
gooks.
I was confused. I was yo, they keep calling me Chinese. I'm not Chinese.
You know what I'm saying?
So it was weird to me. And then when I got older, I started to, I guess, blend in, and I looked mixed. So then everybody was yo, he's Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico, obviously,
or whatever, a mix. So it wasn't I wasn't getting the butt of the Asian jokes anymore. And
no, they wasn't saying that they ain't like us, they were like you, they were like you,
And then I guess when I hit my growth spurt too, so it wasn't it was you could mix with something or I was playing sports. I was playing baseball was my thing.
Okay.
Until I broke my hand.
What position were you playing?
I was third base and I played catcher.
Okay. So you're in there. Yeah. So now Kung Fu, Otani going crazy.
I mean, I saw Otani, the not the Olympic, the World Championship.
WBC.
It was like when he was pitching against his teammate.
Trout,
Yeah, with his teammate. It was like, wow. It was such like a probably like a moment for him to like to win it, to strike out his boy, who's like also like Hall of Famer,
you know what I'm saying?
Status. But
everybody in Japan, any manga, any comic publisher would deny the script what Otani has achieved, you know, because it's that super miracle, you know.
Yeah.
And now whole thing is in LA, you know, now the Kendrick stuff all going on. I saw it very, 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 like very dynamic. It's like a Greek Odyssey type shit that what we are going through right now, you know.
Yeah.
Well, we can go deep into that, but we're gonna go too far into that shit. But so now, you said, okay, let's get back. You said that, okay, you come out of the how you came out the Grammy deal, and then you were aware of hip hop, what was exactly going on. Yeah. So when the opportunity was there, when you're ready to be flash, you knew what weapons to fight with, what uniform to be worn.
Yeah, I mean, so like they knew that I had like swag and I was different, and but I just couldn't speak the language. I understood it. 100%, because like I said, my parents spoke it to me. I just answered it in English.
Yeah.
And so, what was the best way to learn Thai? Get a Thai girlfriend. You know. So then I was
English Thai. Yeah. Here we go.
So then I learned, and then eventually, like Grammy put me in onto this project where it was like four females and 4 dudes in one group. We were called Teen 8 Grade A. And and I remember looking back. When you look back, I was like, this is how the music industry works. I'm just gonna put this on, like, because it's. So one day I'm at my aunt's house in Dindang, and it's like a small wooden house, Thai style, and we're just on the floor, and I'm sitting watching the television, and I see like this Pepsi commercial, and it's like the rival label from Grammy, which is like RS.
Okay.
And they come out with like this fucking commercial that's like, their artists are like 8 of them, superheroes, but they're all like already established artists in their own like solo, some are duos, and then it's like a big like, and they're called Generation Next. Right? And believe, like, so say that was probably at like 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon when that commercial dropped. By 6 p.m. Grammy on, like, because at that time, like, RS had all the RS television stations or whatever TV shows they had. Grammy had all their channels. Right? So by 6 p.m. I see it's like a kind of like, where you're like on the wall where you're just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Flash,
So it's like a little like graphic like that. They're saying coming soon, 1, 2, 3, 4, /1, 8. And it's like, dude, and I say, because I'm in development, right? And I'm in the building, and I know what's going on. Who's coming out? Who has the
deal?
Kind of like who's next on because it's like it's on the board. So I was like, wait, who are these 8 people? I was like, they counted really quick. I get the call in the next morning, and then they bring me up to the label Green Beans. So Green Beans was one of the labels at Grammy, and they're like, I don't know if you've seen the thing, blah, 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 but you are now part of this group called Teen 8 Grade A. And then like, this is what you gotta do. And then like, you have studio time, this is everything, like, do you want to, like, and they had all the songs already set to go, written. And they brought, and I was like, who else is in the group? So they brought in like maybe out of the development course, the vocal, they have probably like 6 of us that I knew that, and then they brought in two more kids that I didn't know. Put us together, got us in that photo shoot, went to the studio, you sing this part. On the whole thing, they put that shit together in like,
wow, the corporate beef.
Just like the machine.
It must be crazy. It's not like an internet days like So it's like when they saw it, they're like, okay, we ain't having it, we're going at it. And you were just dragged into the corporate beef, like,
And then realizing it, I was like, wow, that shit is, because if you go back to the album, I sing one line. Everything else is manufactured from like choruses and everything. And like, I mean, there's some of the, like, I didn't know, like, I'm not the best singer and I couldn't even speak Thai at that time. But they had like, you know, other group members doing everything, and it was just manufactured really quickly. Then Coke became the sponsor. So Coke and Pepsi were going at it with this group. And when I look back at it, it was something that I was just happy that I was allowed to dress how I wanted to dress. You know, they made me grow out my hair a little bit, which I was like, but when I look, like my attitude, I was 16 years old. My attitude was like, man, fuck this shit. This shit is fucking whack.
When you're raised in America, in the situation, environment that you grew up, you have to say what's whack and what's not. You know,
I was like, yo, this shit is whack. And I was like, I hate my attitude. It was real shitty. And, you know, and I couldn't wait to leave. The group eventually ended up breaking up. We sold about 500,000 copies. Probably did about 10 shows altogether. And then after that, once the group broke up, they didn't really know what to do with me. Then I got an opportunity to star in a movie. It's a feature film. So it's like a horror thriller, like teenage horror thriller. And I fell in love with acting. I fell in love. I was like, oh, this is what I fell in love with the cast, the crew, the whole experience. I was like, and you know, the director, he went to NYU film, so he graduated from there, and so we had that connection. And he was like, yo, you're like a natural. It's like you just can't speak Thai. And so that was in the back of my mind. So after the movie, it was okay. It got good reviews. It was a success. Then the label so they put me in a fucking soap opera. And I was the main actor in the soap opera, and I was like, fuck, I hate this shit. This shit is so whack again. Like, why? Like, I don't want to fucking do this shit. So after the soap opera was done, my parents had made their way back to America. And my mom, you know, she being an educator, she wanted me to like at least finish high school, and then she tried her hardest to get me into an international school here. But she couldn't afford it. And you know, I was like, Mom, honestly, I'm not gonna go. Like, I promise you I'll go back and get my GED. You know, when the time's right. So after the soap opera, I decided that, you know what, I'm gonna go back to New York, I'm gonna get my GED, and then I'm gonna take some acting classes. So that's why I was like, okay, I'm done with Thailand. I didn't like Thailand, like it wasn't for me. I spent 2 years, 2.5 years there, which was only supposed to be like a couple months. I ended up staying 2.5 years. I'm 18 now. Let me go back to New York, please.
All the actions,
Get my GED. Started like community college, and then I was taking acting classes. And I went back to New York, I got my headshots. Like, I remember borrowing money from my mom to get like, yo, this is it. $700 for one picture. And she's like, yo, what, like, you better make something out. Like, $700 is a lot of money back then. And I was like, yo, let me borrow. I got this headshot, and I thought I was on my way. I think my first ever gig was doing like a Judge Wapner infomercial. I got paid like $50 for being an extra standing next to Judge Wapner. And
but your mom, you know, you first investment, first person that believe in your potential from day zero, you know?
Was my mom. And my dad was like, he wanted me, like old school. He wanted me to go to college, get a job, because my dad worked in labor his whole life, standing on his feet, and he didn't want that for me. You know, and he didn't finish school, and that was always his push, like, yo, you gotta fucking get a job where you're sitting at a desk getting insurance, all that shit. You know, and by thinking that was kind of like, that was his mentality. And then in the future we fell out, but we'll get to that. But anyway, but my mom, she supported, she lent me the 700. I got the headshot. I did the commercial, and then the things were like real slow for like a long, like real slow. So I was working at restaurants. I was working in a French restaurant, you know, just as a waiter, because you made cash. Off of tips. So I'm working in the restaurant, and then it's like, shit, man. I still had like maybe like 1.5 years left on my contract for Grammy.
Okay.
So somehow I persuaded my mom. I was like, shit was slow, you know, going back. I was like, I still have 1.5 years. Maybe I can go back and do something. And then I think one of them, like one of the execs was like, oh, I got a music video acting job for you if you want to come while you're here, you know, test it. So I did the acting thing. I saw Khan, and Khan was like, yo, I'm moving to New York. I'm moving to New York at the end of the month. It was like beginning of March. And I was like, you moving to New York? And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go work at this studio out in Queens. I was like, okay, well, I'm in Queens. I'm in Sunnyside right now. And he's like, yeah. So the studio is in Jamaica. And I was like, all right, bet. If you're gonna go to New York, then fuck it. I'm not even gonna stay. I'm gonna go to New York. I'm gonna go back to New York. So I think I got to Thailand around like mid-March, and then
Wait, so what year is it?
99.
99. Okay.
99.
Okay.
Yeah. And 99, March 99, I come back for a little bit, and then I see him, and he's like, I'm moving to New York. I'm like, all right, then bet. I'm gonna go back to New York. Fuck everything. And so I leave, I get to New York March 27th. He gets to New York March 29th.
Okay.
And that's when I met Day and J-Rock on March 29th. Everybody in New York. And that's like, that was the first day we sparked a blunt in my apartment in Sunnyside. I was gonna go pick up Khan. I went to JFK. This motherfucker came in at Newark.
Newark.
But anyway, so that was the first day that like we all connected, the four of us.
At the moment that you were gonna be spending a lot of time with these boys to make something happen? Did you know it or did you not?
I knew because I used to live in the same apartment building in La Pau 102. So from 16 to about 18 and a half, we lived in this, it was like the hood. It was like the end of the block, 6 buildings. He lived in building A, I lived in building C. And then we had these little pellet guns that we would shoot at each other's windows to call each other. Pop, pop. And anyway, so we were there. He had a studio in his room, and then while I was with Grammy, and you know, the hip hop scene was very small. So there was Tony the Killers, AJ was in one of the buildings, and Khan was upstairs, and I was in apartment C. And so any chance that I had when I wasn't working and he was free, I would be up in the studio with him just listening and while he's like making 1,000 beats. And I couldn't rap for shit. I couldn't rap on beat. And then I was messing around with AJ, his collaborator, producer. And he was like, yo, write something. And DMX was really, you know, big at the time. And I was just like, I remember the fucking first like song that I tried to be DMX and we're fucking barking on the track and like trying to rap in a big ass, like a deep ass voice. And I couldn't rap on beat for like a minute. And then so then I would then practice.
So you're like, fuck it, now something fall into a rap, okay?
Because I had a girl, and then one thing, me having a girl at the time, like I would party and shit, but my girl kept me like, because she was a dancer, and she was working, so, and I had her, like I had to go pick her up, she was a little older than me, so I was always like kind of close to the crib, and then I'd just be in the studio. So I wasn't like out doing like, you know, so I was listening and watching these motherfuckers work, and then still trying to like, one thing about me, if I can't do something, I'm gonna try to keep doing it. I was like, why can't I rap on fucking beat? And how come it's taking me like fucking like 8 hours to write this like 5 bars or 6 bars? It's like, it's taking forever. So I would just sit there and write. And you know, a lot of shit was made up shit in the beginning, you know, and it sounded like, sounded like all my influences.
DMX, like you mentioned earlier, all the East Coast legends,
And then I remember I wrote one, and Khan was like, yo, why don't you get on it? like an official one, and I wrote it, and he's like, yo, you kind of sound like Q-Tip in that nasally like voice. And,
yeah.
And so that one song made it onto his mini disc. And then it was kind of
mini disc.
The mini disc.
Yeah.
And it made it onto the mini disc. And I think the DMX one, but AJ carried most of the song, so I have maybe 8 bars on it. That also made it to the mini disc, and Khan probably has a copy of it somewhere.
Yeah.
So anyway, it had started in Thailand, so that's why when he said that he was going to New York, and I was like, all right, fuck it, if you're gonna be at the studio, and I was already I wasn't thinking that I was gonna be a rapper or anything, because I was already my passion was trying to pursue acting.
Yeah.
So fast forward, March 29th, 1999.
Yeah.
We get to New York.
Yeah.
We're all living in different places.
Yeah.
I'm still pursuing acting.
Yeah.
I go to this open call. So this is after I come back from Thailand the second time.
Okay.
I go to this open call in Columbia University.
Okay.
And it's 700 people at 8 o'clock in the morning for this fucking open call. I'm waiting. I get in at maybe 3 o'clock. And 3 p.m. now they're taking in 20 people at a time.
Okay.
And so now I'm standing in a group of 20 people, right? But luckily I'm in the middle.
Yeah.
So they're going down the line, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's introducing themselves. Hi, I'm da-da-da. I want to be an actress so bad, or I want to be an actor so bad. And I see that everybody's answering the same fucking way.
Yeah.
So when they get to me and they're like, yo, I'm Way, what's up? And yeah, my goal in life is just to never have a boring day. And they go down the line, everybody like, yeah, I'm chilling, I'm came to New York to be an actor, all that shit. And then out of the group, it's picking a lineup. They just pick me. It's you
The
stay.
Punchline.
You stay.
Yeah.
And then they were like, well, we like your look, and we want you to read for this part.
Yeah.
And I read for this part right there and then they asked me that day, I felt what it was like to get a call back. So they called me back that day, and they're like, yo, we want you to come into downtown office and read again.
Yeah.
And then now they're like, okay, we're gonna you have to pick up the sides a half an hour earlier or whatever the fuck, and then come in on time, do not be late. And so I'm like, okay, boom, and then so it was 3 or 4 callbacks. I get the part in this feature film called Rhythm of the Saints.
Okay.
It's shot in Washington Heights, and it ends up going, later, 2 years later down the line, ends up going to Sundance. So
but this obviously, you were not taking a role as a Thai kid. You were just taking as a kid that speaks fluent English.
Yeah.
That's what's up. Yeah.
So they gave, and my character's name was Snuff. And then the character is a mixed racial, the character of it's mixed racial kid.
Yeah, that could be,
So I was like, all right, cool. And after that, I was like, you know what, this shit is easy. I was like, you know what, this shit is easy. I went to open call and I fucking I killed it.
Yeah.
And it ended up being a very great, a good experience. And then I met one of my close friends. I'm still friends with him today. The lead of the film. And he introduced me to a casting director that he knew. So, and my man used to play buckets on the L train.
Okay. L train, 14th Street.
Yeah, on 14th Street and then on Bedford Avenue. So
that's a traditional shit.
So he was a musician too, and then I was like, yeah, I rap, but I was like, I rap too.
Yeah.
And so we kicked it, and we'd smoke, and then he would, play me music and shit. And he was like, yo, what do you want to do? I was like, yo, I want to act and shit.
Yeah.
And then he's a pretty white boy from Houston, Texas, plays the drums, that look, and he was like, yo, let me introduce you to this casting director. I'm so bad, I forgot her name, but he introduces me to her, and the first job that I booked with her is the national 555 Soul ad.
555 Soul, Jessica!
And so it's like, and it was all like full circle. I got to wear my Buddha chain, and then it said Brooklyn on it, and I'm standing there like, you know, with the Brooklyn and my Buddha chain, and this image of it goes national, and it's like everywhere in the city. It's in transit, it's in sports lane, it's in like, you know, all like Vibe and Double XL. Like,
the telephone booths and the bus station.
It's everywhere.
It's
everywhere. So, and it was so ill for me to be like, yeah, you know.
But I experienced that 344 Soul is the independent New York swag brand that was, you know, had the style to it, you know. That was reaching out to your PNB, Supreme, that you know, Zoo York marketing, you know, and you were picked for that. That's what's up. Yeah.
So it was like this. I think it was the second campaign of their second season, and it just, you know, and it was a good look, and I was excited. And then from that, I booked like a Prada shoot. I booked an Adidas shoot, and then I was I did like a spread for B magazine. So I was getting a lot of looks. And then, but the movie that I did, that I completed, I thought that like after that, like, you know, you're young, you're naive, you think you're like, oh shit, I made it, and all this shit is coming.
But the DiCaprio's goal ad,
and then once I did the Adidas ad, I remember it was June 6th. June 6th, I do the Adidas ad, and after that, the phone stopped ringing. Stopped ringing.
Like America went to independent country, huh?
Yeah, it was just like stopped ringing. Like there was no castings, there was no nothing. There was, I don't know what.
You didn't see no crowd coming. You just started.
Yeah, it just like, and then I was like, I was down.